You know what time it is. It's podcast time. And this time, it is another tier list. Left back's tier list. Enjoy the podcast. Get your thoughts down below. Enjoy. And thank you very, very much to everybody who's got me to 1.1k subscribers. We are now on the road to 1.2k. Thank you all. You're absolute legends. Enjoy the podcast. Enjoy the tier list. Get your thoughts down below. Cheers.
Breathing in, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Yes! 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 Come on! Come on!
Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I've weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Football Podcast. I am back after an unfortunate week off. My face has returned to all your beautiful screens. And we are back for tier list number 2. So I have a couple of announcements to make, but before we get that, it is obviously most important that I introduce the people who are along beside me on my panel. So we're going to do just a guy who has just reached 1.1k subscribers, the man we all love, the man we all adore, and the man who's working every day at Tesco's. Doug, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm a little bit choked up at the moment, but I think that's probably been overworked, to be honest with you. But no, I hope everyone well. Hope everyone's well, and hope everyone enjoys this second tier list. I'm looking forward to this one.
We've obviously got the regular Mister. We've got Nathan, who has literally just had the best weekend of his life. I think a very dumb but important question. South Wales is blue, isn't it?
We're the biggest team in Wales, baby. 45 wins. They can't match that. Anyone who says otherwise is completely deluded. Up the mighty Bluebirds. Yeah, thanks for having me on as usual. And I love another good tier list, guys. And actually, it's my first one, so I'm happy. Let's go.
We've below me, we've got Reece, who probably doesn't know if he should be banging his head off a wall after watching Manchester United week in week out. Either play like Barcelona or play like a prime Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. Reece, how you doing?
Oh, thanks for the reminder. I'm all right. I'm fine. Better team won yesterday. Fair play to Leicester.
And then to Reece's right, we have and then to Reece's right, we have the guy who probably has even more reason to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out, Mr. George Kyle. How you doing?
Very well, thank you, Josh, and thank you for having me again. Really looking forward to another tier list. I know obviously the goalkeeper one. There was slight contention, I think, afterwards, which we're hoping to avoid, or maybe this time around.
If people can't handle it, they can't handle it. It's our opinion. Who cares?
So to get into a very quick announcement before we get into the Tierlist. First of all, as a disclaimer, that everything that we say on this podcast is our own opinions. It's how we see football. It's how we see the players. We please ask that if you do disagree with our placements, do not put any hatred in the comments towards any of us. Any hatred on Twitter, on StreamYard, in the comments will not be tolerated and will be dealt with extremely quickly, because we're here for fun. We're here to enjoy. And the whole point of this world is everyone has different opinions. Otherwise, the world would be very, 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 very boring. Very simple. Now, the second thing is an important message about racism. Obviously, I'm sure most people are completely aware of the situation with Slovakia Prague and Glenn Kamara after the second leg at Ibrox, where a racist incident with the Slovakia Prague player was comments to Glenn Kamara. Obviously, racism is a very difficult subject for us all to speak about. It's a very, very difficult situation because it's extremely sensitive. But one thing that we can say here is obviously all of us do not. Later than I see in the comment, I'll bring your comment up when it's more of an appropriate time. We do not talk racism here at all. Every single day of every single moment, we will fight against it. We will put our message out that racism should not be about. In any sport, in any community, in any street, in any place of the world, no human being should suffer any different because of their skin. As I say to every single one, as I say to everyone, the most important thing about a human being is their heart and their soul, and not the colour of their skin. And that's the message that we would say. If any racism was to ever take part, and thankfully it hasn't so far in this podcast, it will be dealt with absolutely severely, because it's not going to be tolerated anywhere. And I'm sure everyone here will shake their heads in agreement to that. Yep. Okay. Also the week of Easter, which is from the 5th of April. The 5th of April, there would be no podcast. We're all going to go and not go on holiday because it's COVID, but we're all going to put our feet up and relax and look. Well, Doug will still be working at Tesco's packing the shelves, but I thankfully get that week off. So
that means we'll be back on the 12th.
Correct.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, correct.
So just there'll be no podcast. There'll still be content by Doug, but there will be no podcast on the Monday night.
Well, I think Reece has just realised what day the 12th is, isn't he?
No, I can't. No. Oh God, I need a moment.
And then the final thing is that we will be. I've got very big news regarding me and YouTube. I will be starting 3 different YouTube channels. Number 1 will be my own personal YouTube channel, which will be Glen Alvin, Chelsea, NFL, football content, and all together. The second one, we had the Blue podcast on here a couple of weeks ago. I will be joining up with them to create a brand and a new section of their YouTube channel where it's going to be it's not going to be similar to this podcast, but it's going to be more. I'm going to be getting involved more of what they're doing. I'll be creating content for them. I'm going to be doing podcasts for them. We'll be doing watch-alongs, match previews, and all of that stuff. And then also the final thing is that me and Owen from Cop On will be doing a monthly special podcast called Owen and Josh Talks Football, which will be streamed live on the Cop On every week. So yeah, that's for anyone who's interested in more football talk. So if that interests anyone, that's it. But anyway, that's all of that I talked about. So it's time for the main event, which is the tier list.
Aidan Flint went from Bristol to Borough. Aidan Flint now at Cardiff, he's a blue. On number 5 of centre back, he can defend, he can attack. Cross it in, he's in the mix. Hates the whistles, he's a blue.
Let's have some fun with it.
Aidan
Flint went from Bristol to Borough.
now at Cardiff, he's a blue. On number 5 of centre back, he can defend, he can attack.
Cross it in, he's in the mix. Hates the whistles, he's a blue.
there. I'm sorry, Nathan. But you put it in there, so
Don't drink vodka, kids.
Oh, honestly, Josh, why did you have to remind us of Mr. Paul Konchesky and Alberto Moreno, two of the worst left backs who have ever played for Liverpool? And to be honest, like Jimmy Traore wasn't great either, but at least he won a Champions League.
Right, so the sections, as you can see on our left, are the same subjects that we used in the podcast. Best in the league, very good, average, and poor. But Roberto has been replaced by Roberto Moreno. So very similar to last time. Me and Doug will take turns in basically explaining each of them. We'll all give our opinions, and simple as that. So we're starting off with the Newcastle left back, Paul Dummett. I watched him against Brighton, and this man is awful. I am putting him in the poor. I don't think he's on Roberto Moreno level, but he was very, very poor.
I don't think there's any other one to put him in. I mean, I think me and Reece will have remembered that Paul Dummett actually used to play for St Mirren.
Don't.
Yeah. He actually used to play for St Mirren, and let's be honest, he wasn't great there either. So for me, it's bordering beyond poor / Alberto Moreno, but I'm going to put him in poor. I think the majority of people are going to put poor, I would say.
He is Welsh, of course, but the only problem is I can't even remember the last time he's been called up for a Wales call-up. Haven't been impressed by him at all. He is Welsh, so he can't go in Alberto Moreno, except if I was another nationality, then I probably would have. Even in a Welsh shirt, he hasn't impressed me at all, and he's had some very poor games for us. But I'm going to put him in poor.
Mr. George?
I will agree with that. Yeah, I think poor is probably the best category to put him in. Definitely struggling for Newcastle whenever I've seen him play. Very poor offensively, I think. Reasonably okay, I think, defensively. But he has. I think he's one of those people that just sort of puts his body on the line. There's no real sort of guile about him. So I think in terms of his quality, I would agree with Paul.
And Reece.
He's just shit per category.
Okay. So with no contestant at Paul Dummett, going into the poor category. Very quick question to the panel. A very simple yes or no because of time restrictions. After that Brighton game, are Newcastle going down?
Yes.
I think they'll just survive by the skin of their teeth.
Fair enough, right?
Fulham will beat them last day of the season and condemn them to relegation. Praying. And I don't pray at all.
Over to you, Doug.
Yeah, in all honesty, like looking at Newcastle's next fixtures, I mean, it's really difficult. I think they've got Tottenham, Leicester, Liverpool, Arsenal in there somewhere. I actually think they will stay up by the skin of their teeth. Because I think they're getting players back at the right time. I think St Maximum's coming back. I think Callum Wilson's coming back. Almiron was back at the weekend. So, yes, I'm going to say that they stay up by the skin of their teeth. So, the next left back is the new Wolves left back. It is Ait Nouri. I'm going to be honest with you. Every time I've seen this guy play, I think he's a very, very good left back. I haven't seen, as we say, he hasn't played much, but I would put him in the good category. Scored on one of his debuts, I think, as well. So I've been very impressed with Ait Nouri, so he would go in the good category for me. If they want me back, then I'm happy to go back on it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Doug. I mean, if you think about it as well, playing at that level when you're only 19 is absolutely superb. He has got to go in good, guys.
I
Josh?
would put him in the average category simply because it's hard when you... No, listen. Okay, He has done very well, but as expected, at a young age, he has struggled against the big teams. Big time. I remember when we played them, or it took us first game. Like he struggled with Callum Hudson-Odoi big time. I feel like going forward, he is very good, but defensively, he's still lacks. For his age, you would say good, but to try and keep it on a level playing field, I'm looking at all aspects of the game, so I'm going to go for average.
I disagree with you completely, George.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Josh and say average. Obviously, you guys have already mentioned his age, but I think what we have to be very clear on is the fact is sort of if you're going to place all of the left backs, an average is going to be is sort of like the middle ground or halfway through. And I think, as we'll sort of see as we progress through this podcast, I think there are quite a lot of left backs that we're going to place higher than him. So I think average is probably about right, because, like I said, I've sort of seen him play quite a few times, and for his age, it's like Josh was sort of mentioning, we would put good, but obviously the important thing for me, or my sort of the way I discern it, is in terms of all left backs that we're going to judge in the Premier League, and I think on that basis I'd place him in average.
Yeah, from what George
Reece?
just said, then I've got to agree with you on put him in average as well.
Reece?
To be honest, I'm not going to rate him. And the reason I'm not is the same as I'm not going to rate what's-his-face, Alonso. They're not left backs, they're left wing backs. So they're playing a totally different role. But if you base it on performance, he's average.
Right, just to actually correct you on that, this young kid is actually playing as a left back in the back four for Wolves much more than he's playing. Then he's playing as a left wing back.
Just because I predominantly watched him as a left wing back, so that's why I wouldn't really comment. But if he's been playing as a left back, then fair enough. Then I'll still put him in average, because I don't think he's particularly great. I don't think he's particularly poor either. But I haven't seen enough of him to say he's worth higher than that. I've only particularly watched him as a left wing back. I haven't seen him play as a left back.
So we all agree that besides Doug, that he is an average. Next one is the backup left back of Wolves, which is Johnny. He's been there for quite a few seasons now. He was there with him in the Championship. I'm going to put Johnny in averages too. He's never done wrong by Wolves. I don't think he's never done anything too bad. I think last year when he was mainly their starting left back, I thought he did a really good job defensively. He's been with Rouge for thick and thing. He comes in when needed. But he's nothing special, but he's not actually done anything too poor. So I think average seems to be
he's just reliable.
Fair. Andy Robertson.
I'm gonna say Johnny Otto's in good. I think he's a very, very solid player for Wolves. I think every time I've seen him play, he gives you everything as a left back. He gives you a 7 out of 10 every game. I think he's a very, very good player, and he for me he would go in the good category. He is better than that 8 Nouri. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Doug here. I've seen him twice at the Cardiff City Stadium. Both of the times put in good performances. A real threat down that left-hand side as well. I saw him get through our defence, can cross well. In what I've seen from him, he's really good defensively, so good for me.
George?
I think he is somewhere sort of between the good and the average categories. I would sort of place him. I think I would probably also agree with you again on this one, Josh. I'd also place him in average as well. From obviously when I've seen him, I don't think, again, just looking at all the left backs we've got, I still see him as being average compared to a lot of the other left backs in the Premier League. So average for me.
And Reece?
I actually think he's quite good, but the problem is he's been injured quite a lot this year, so he's not really had much of a chance to really show any significant impact this year compared to last season. So on the grounds of it, I'm going to say borderline. I'm going to say borderline in the middle, good and average, to be honest. I think it's a bit unfair to put him down. I also think it's a bit it'd be too generous to put him in good. So I'm going to put him as borderline.
Judging by the chat, since we have a deadlock, it looks like good based on the...
Yeah, it looks like good to me. Looks like good.
So by decision of chat, since we can't decide, he goes into good. Next one.
The next one is Scouser, Aaron Chriswell. I have to say, from watching West Ham this season, Aaron Chriswell has been very, very impressive for me. Yeah, you can say he's not very good defensively, but what you can say, he's a very, very good attacking left-back. Has come up with a few assists this season. I would put him in good, Aaron Chriswell. Ashley Cole?
I'm going to agree we're very good. I think left back was I think if you spoke to Dan, the West Ham fan, when he said left back was a big issue for West Ham going into the start of the season, but I think he's proved to be very good. I think he's been one of the best players that they've had this season. I'm going very good, given he's been really good in what it would be a defensive-minded team and an average team, which is hard given their fifth is excellent. I think he had a bit of a howler against Arsenal yesterday, but every player has their off day. So I would agree with very good.
Okay, Nathan?
No description, very good. Had a superb season, underrated left-back. For the amount of years he's been at West Ham, I'd say one of the most underappreciated left-backs in the Premier League.
Interesting. George?
I would say very good as well. He was already sort of when I've been looking through all of them. Very good is where I placed him. 31 years old now. Obviously, as Nathan sort of mentioned, he's been with West Ham for a long time. So it was July 2014 when he was bought from Ipswich for 4.28 million. So he's obviously been an incredible servant for West Ham, and every time that we played them over those many years, he's been incredibly good. He's competent on the ball. He's got a very good left foot in terms of assists and goals and things of that ilk, and creating chances. So he's very good offensively. I think, obviously, I think Doug sort of mentioned that maybe he's not the best defensively, but I think overall as a left back, he is extremely capable. And the fact that he's been there for that many years. And every time that, like I said, that Manchester United have faced him, and I've watched him so often, he's always had a good game. So I think there was even a free kick that he scored against us, I seem to remember, quite recently as well. So very good for me.
And Reece?
Yeah, he's all right. To be honest, I would have him in a good category. I mean, he turns up and all that. He's reliable, but he scores the odd free kick and all that, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make you a very good left back. That just means that you're doing your job. But he's not particularly great. But the one thing you can say is, if you had to put your faith on someone in that position at the moment, if you couldn't afford anyone at the highest level, who would you go? So I would put him in good. Is it offensive? Not really. He was the worst left back I ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah.
All right, next one is the backup West Ham left back, Masiaki. I'm going Roberto Moreno level. This guy is atrocious. Every time he plays, he is a disaster. He doesn't know how to defend. He can't stay in line. He can't attack. He can't move. He can't kick a ball. He's a Roberto Moreno. Doug?
I have to agree with you, Masuaku. I'm sorry, he plays more of a left midfielder than a left back, but his actual position is a left back. But every time I've seen him as a left back, as you say, he can't defend, and he gets the most silly of yellow cards and red cards. Honestly, this guy is horrendously bad. So it has to be Alberto Moreno.
Nathan?
Completely agree with you both. I mean, the guy's not even a left back, so Alberto Moreno, and then he still can't play, so terrible. It's terrible.
Hello, Matthew McFadden. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Josh, it's still you, I think.
No, it's about George.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'd say, sort of between poor and Alberto Moreno level for Masuaku. I think, every time that I've seen him play, he's definitely, he's definitely extremely error prone, and certainly as well, you'd think that obviously Aaron Cresswell's sort of secured that left back spot for a reason, really. Even though Masuaku's quite a bit younger, he's definitely not been able to show the light. And like I said, poor to Alberto Moreno for him.
Right.
Putting him in the poor category is being generous. He is Alberto Moreno level. He is absolutely shocking.
Here the Bertrand
He's not Liverpool anymore, Liz. He's not Liverpool anymore.
I honestly wouldn't trust the guy to run my bath. So,
Jimmy, to answer your question, there's a lot of context that go into this. It goes in terms of where the team is, how there is, how the team plays. There's a lot of things that go into the context. So don't just because we're putting him for Carson good does not mean we think he's an Ashley Cole level type player. There's just a lot of context that goes into it. So I'm sure that will make sense.
Actually, Cole, it should be Dennis Irwin level behaviour.
Misaki is crap. He can only score first of working on a friendly. Yeah, this is not a Sheffield Scouts accent, isn't it? Yeah, so he's not. So we've got first Alberto Moreno. Anyway, next one, which is West Brom left back.
Same level.
Connor, is that Connor Townsend?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. It's a very difficult one because where West Brom are in the league, he's actually been one of their better players, I would say. So I'd put him in average. I would put Connor Townsend in average. Josh, what about you?
I don't think I can. I'm actually going to put him in poor because you can't be. It's in fact, I honestly he probably has been one of our best players, but I think there's a certain player who has been our best player, and that's Colin Gallacher. Personally, that's not big damn biased. I generally think he's been one of my West Brom's best players this season. But I think he's poor. I think they've conceded the most goals. They have a terrible defensive line. I've seen him being caught out quite a few times. He's been caught out a lot of times. He is obviously nothing special, but I don't think he's average. I think he is quite poor and a very poor team.
Okay, Nathan.
Yeah, I'm going to put him in poor. Personally, for me, when I've been watching like West Brom in the Championship and stuff, he is a mid-table Championship player. I mean, half the squad don't really impress me. West Brom wise, when they were in the Championship, it's just because they had a good manager and they had those good slots in there and they played the right football for the Championship. Yeah, he's mid-table Championship, but nowhere near Alberto Moreno level. So I'm going to put him in poor.
George?
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys. Place him in poor. It is difficult, and that's I think you sort of alluded to it there, Doug. It is difficult sometimes because you've obviously got to take into account, like you've mentioned, where a team is in the league, and obviously what their expectations are and budgets and things like that. So obviously with Connor Townsend, he was signed on 756,000 from Scunthorpe United in July 2018. So you've got to, if you think about a lot of the left backs on this list, a lot of them were, far more expensive, and you expect, and obviously, play for better clubs, so you'd expect them to be better. So, I mean, it's sort of just, I think, really sort of West Brom's level. I think is probably is more sort of like, so sometimes you just get that, won't you? Where the left back often will mirror how well the team's doing and all those sort of budgets and stuff. But every time I've seen him, he has been poor, and obviously West Brom are poor in general. So yeah, poor for me.
And Reece?
I can't remember the last time he had even an average performance, to be honest. Poor.
Yeah, I think the majority are putting him in poor, so we'll put him in poor.
The backup to Connor Townsend is Kieran Gibbs. He has the Premier League experience, but he's a very reckless player. I'm going to put him in poor too. I remember against Everton when he kicked the legs off. I think it was 12 and got sent off. He's for someone who has probably the experience, he's not done enough for this team. He's not been much of a leader, and now he's been benched for Colin Townsend. I don't think he's Roberto Moreno level. I think Masiaku, takes that to a new level, but I think he's poor. Andy Robertson.
He will be remembered as the player who was sent off against Chelsea for being wrong person, because it should have been Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain that day. Yeah. Mistaken identity. So Kieran Gibbs will always be remembered for that, for being sent off in that game. It's difficult because, as we say, Kieran Gibbs has been in the Premier League a long time with Arsenal, and then he kind of lost his way a little bit this season. Yeah, he's been playing second fiddle to. Connor Townsend. So I'm not putting him in Alberto Moreno because I think Kieran Gibbs is actually not at that level, but to be honest, I would say both West Brom's left backs are poor anyway. So I'm going to put Kieran Gibson poor.
Nathan.
Based on his performances this season, I cannot put the guy in poor. And personally, when they get relegated next year, I think Kieran Gibbs might be out the door. He's probably going to go abroad, but if he does stay, then I think he's going to struggle in the Championship as well, considering his discipline, the way he's been playing this year, and West Brom with their defensive line, an absolute joke. So he is going in Alberto Moreno.
George?
I think, well, for me, I would place him in poor. As you guys have sort of mentioned, he's been around forever. He's sort of, he's one of those players that at Arsenal, as I think one of the chats sort of mentioned it as well, has never fulfilled his potential. You often find it, I think, with quite a few Arsenal players where, everyone thinks they're the second coming when they're coming up, obviously when they're young, but then they turn out, obviously they often will show their level, and obviously Arsenal fans sort of build them up quite heavily at the start, and then they turn out to not be quite as good. I think for that you can sort of read Hector Bellerin, the way that he was sort of seen as potentially the best right back in the world, and then what sort of they're often sort of blaming him, I think, for different things. But yeah, in terms of bringing it back to Gibbs, every time that I've seen him, obviously seen him plenty of times over the years, and poor for me, very almost Alberto Moreno, but I will be generous slightly and put him in poor. So poor for me.
Pete, just to say about your question there will be a very, very brief discussion at the end of the video about all of that stuff, but this is a special episode on tier list. We'll be talking about more of those games in detail next week, but it will be a very, very brief discussion on them next on the end of the show. Reece?
He got let go by Arsenal for a reason. He's not particularly good at defending. He's not particularly good going forward. Like, what does he actually offer? Hardly anything. So for me, poor.
Didn't he go somewhere in Spain after being released by Arsenal? I'm pretty sure he went.
Well.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was he?
Reece, what was the United score?
Go to hell.
Doug, over to you.
The better team won. That's all I'm saying, right? The better team won, but that's as far as I'm going.
We have the Tottenham Spanish left back, Sergio Reguilon. I am putting this guy in very good. I've been very impressed with Sergio Reguilon since he has been in the Premier League. So for me, he is very good. Josh?
Completely and utterly agree. I think he's been exceptional. I think there was a big drop off between him and the guy we're going to talk about next. I think he's adapted to Premier League extremely well. He doesn't speak really good English, but thankfully there's a Spanish Jose Mourinho's assistant Spanish, so he's been able to help. I think he's been extremely good. He's been attacking well, and he's a very key part of Mourinho's team. I honestly think Spurs are going to get robbed when Real Madrid use that buyback clause on them.
Nathan?
Yeah, I can definitely see the buyback clause happening. He's impressed me all season. Superb left back. Great going forward. Great at the back as well. Getting some tackles in. I think he's superb. He's going in very good.
George?
Yep, very good. He's that sort of typical player, I think, from Real Madrid, who even if he isn't necessarily going to get into their team, and obviously you mentioned the buyback clause and the potential they'll go after him in a few years' time. But it's a bit like, obviously, Kovacic, who Josh knows all about for Chelsea. Obviously, not necessarily going to make it Real Madrid, but still a very good player. And also, every time that I've seen Reguilon play, he has been very good, good offensively, good defensively. So, yeah, very good for me as well. And obviously, only 24 years old as well. So, room for improvement, ready to go back to Real Madrid in a few years.
Yeah, definitely. Reece?
He is a good player, I'll give him that. He's been impressive all season. Do I want to say borderline, or do I actually say very good? I'll put him in very good, but there's been times this season where I've questioned whether he is or not. But he has been consistent, I'll give him that.
Yeah, the majority of the chat are putting him in very good, Josh. Yeah. So we'll put Reguilon in very good.
Next up is the backup to Alberto Moreno. So no, not to Bertrand Moreno. I'm going to get ahead of myself because that's where I'm going to put him. I'm putting is the backup to Regulon, Ben Davis. Now, this guy has been that bad at left back that Jose Mourinho tried him at centre back, and that one's even worse. This guy had a disaster class against Alioski. I don't know why he started. I don't know how Mourinho stopped picking him. I don't know how he could be coming off the bench. This guy is a disaster class walking. I thought the Pochettino, he's been okay, but this season I am actually putting him in Alberto Moreno based off of this season. On the Pochettino, he's been good, but under Mourinho, he's Alberto Moreno level.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you. I think he has been just terrible under Mourinho. Really, really poor. And especially when you've seen him in the Europa League, he looks really, really off it for me. But then again, some people are saying that, he is good. Hello, Flex47. I've seen you in that's football on there. So yeah, nice to see you in here. I don't think he's at Alberto Moreno level though. In all honesty, I think he's average. I'm putting him in average.
Yeah, I completely agree with Doug. As a Welshman, I've seen him in some very, very good games. He's an underappreciated footballer, I reckon. When he's having a good game, he can be absolutely superb. There's a reason he went from the Jacks to Tottenham as well. Superb. It's just the way he works with Mourinho, though. But as far as I'm concerned, you absolutely cannot put Ben Davis below Paul Dummett. That is something you get a criminal record for.
I totally agree.
I'm going to have to put him in average.
So you can still take off him in the same category then?
No, I'd say he has to be above him. Paul Dummett is different gravy, mate.
Look, Sean the best. Look, Sean the best. Come on.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't hear what you said. Sorry about that, Josh. I'm going to put him also in average. I think. I think you sort of mentioned it as well, Josh. I think he was good under Pochettino, and he hasn't obviously necessarily gelled with Mourinho. Obviously, that's been partly due to how well Reguilon's played, and maybe he suits obviously Jose Mourinho slightly more. But every time that I've seen Ben Davis play, he has been quite creditable. But yeah, I'd place him in average.
And Reece,
he hasn't really lived up under Mourinho, but to be fair, Mourinho's football, you may as well drop an asteroid on him. Like, it's that bad. Like, he's past it.
It doesn't suit him at all.
Nah, I think average is fair, but in all fairness, if Paul Dummett had been in the Moreno level, I would have put him in poor.
I agree.
It is fair. Like, they're both shit defenders, but he is slightly ahead of Dummett. I'll give him that.
Southampton's first left back.
Yeah, what's this guy's name? I've forgotten his name.
Do you need help?
Actually, yes, Sam McQueen. Yeah, we've hardly seen him. Hardly really seen him. That is a tricky one because you've hardly ever seen. I would say average. Josh,
I'm going to go inconclusive on this. I've not watched a guy play a single game of football, and I'm not going to go off his FIFA rating. So I'm going to go inconclusive. You know what? Wait, yeah, give me 2 seconds while you go through the rest.
Nathan, Sam McQueen.
Yeah, exactly the same as you guys. Haven't really seen him all season, but that's because he's been back up and everything. I think I'm gonna have to put him in poor just because we haven't seen him this year.
That's fair enough, George.
Again, you guys sort of hit the nail on the head. Really, I haven't seen him. We're going to go on to the next left back who who plays week in week out really for Southampton. The only sort of thing, he's sort of middle of his football career, 26 years old, Southampton youth product, obviously, but never sort of really pushed on or never, really set the world alight. I think for me, I'd probably place him in poor, actually.
Are you guys want to go poor, or do you want to add the new section? Don't know enough. So
I'm putting him in. Don't know enough. I've never seen him.
Yeah, I would do that. Yeah, don't know enough.
Okay, so moving on to the starting left back for Southampton. Obviously, this man is close to my heart. Ryan Bertrand, who won the Champions League with us. He came out of he literally had to come out of the blue from the academy and play against Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena in the Champions League final. Of course, PPL comes in with the facts. In October 2018, he suffered a serious knee injury against Chriswell. A further reflection of his knee reconstruction will cause McQueen to be out for over 2 years. Obviously, this man, see PPL, he's always there when you need him. But as I said, the starting left back, he's close to my heart. The man who won the Champions League with us at the Allianz Arena, Ryan Bertrand. I'm going to be biased. I'm being completely biased here for the Chelsea point. I'm going for good, just because I'm being completely biased. That's simply it. I'm just being biased. Nothing more. No description. Nothing else. Doug?
For me, he's a very solid left back. Whenever I've seen him, play for Southampton, I think he's very, very solid. So I would definitely put him in good. Bertrand is a very solid left back, and it kind of shows that why Arsenal and I think, if I remember rightly, Man City were looking at him I think it was just last month actually. So for me, Bertrand is in good.
He's got to go in good for me. I can't put him in the same category as Ben Davis. He's had his superb moment, and personally, I think he's actually the best Southampton player or the best Southampton defender out of that entire back four this season, because they have struggled at times. Look at this man right here. So I've got to put him in good, guys.
George?
I'd agree with all of you. I think good for Ryan Bertrand. He's another player who's been around the block and who you've seen countless times really in the Premier League. And every time I've seen him, I've never really seen him have a poor or bad game. He's always just very solid. And
I think, Pete. That means all the Man City. So basically, what he's saying is, if we're marking by KD, then that means the Man City players should get the best in the league. But that's not happening.
Yeah.
Anyone, George?
Yeah, so I think overall good. Like I said, every time that I've seen him, he's always been competent, always solid. Doesn't tend to make any mistakes, and like I said, obviously another sort of reason, a bit like with Chriswell, really. When you've played for that long, and obviously you've seen them so many times, there's a reason for that. And that's because you are good. That's why you don't get replaced, and that's why you stay obviously at those various clubs. And obviously Bertrand's been with Southampton since February 2015. So he's been there an awful long time, and like I said, obviously starting left back, even now at 31. So very good for me.
Reece?
Yeah, he's actually been very reliable for Southampton. I've said in this channel before, like they're a team I actually like to watch, just for like bar the odd result, which has happened 2 years in a row, the 9-0. They're still a relatively good team. He's also very effective from the left-hand side. I'm going to put him in good, to be honest. I think he's always reliable. I can't remember the last time he's had a bad game. So, yeah, for me, he goes in the good category.
All right, so Ryan Bertrand is to be agreed. So it looks like I was not being biased at all then. Good. Right, anyway, over to you, Doug.
Oh gosh, who is that?
I could be wrong, but my mind's telling me it's not Osborne, is it? Osborne's the one to the right of him.
Well, you can move on to the other one. I think that's Keane Bryan beside Enda Stevens, and I can't tell who that is.
I think that first one because it's Ben Osborne. He started against us yesterday. Again,
don't know enough. Hardly seen him play for me. Enda Stevens has been that first choice left back for a while at Sheffield United. So Osborne hasn't really had his chance. So for me, don't know enough.
I'm going to put him in. I'm actually going to put him in average, given the Sheffield United team that he's playing. that he's playing in, he's actually done all right. I know Sheffield United fans rate him really, really highly. They said he's been one of our best players. I think they bought him in the summer, and they said that he's been good. He said there's a big drop-off between him and Stevens. So I have watched a bit of Sheffield United season, depressed me enough, but I actually think he's an average left-back given the squad.
Okay, Nathan?
Yeah, I've got to put him in average. I'd say he's been one of the best Sheffield United performers this season. Ender Stevens has really had a poor year this year compared to what he's done last year. So I'm probably going to put him in average. Definitely above Paul Dummett, guys. And above Kieran Gibbs.
George?
I'm going to have to agree with you, Doug. I haven't seen him enough, unfortunately, to be able to judge. So I'd have put him in don't know enough.
Okay, Reece?
I don't know who he is.
I think that's enough said then.
Is it also sad that, based on Kian's comment, I can actually answer his point in chronological order? Is it kind of sad that I can do it?
Oh dear. We're going to skip him because he's been a centre back this season. So he's going to be skipped. And to
be fair, whoever. So this is the Sheffield United players. For me, whoever starts for them, worst defence in the league. I don't care what we say. They belong in Alberto Moreno, the worst defence in the league for a reason.
We're going to move on to the Irishman Stevens, who I'm sure Kane in the jacket tells a bit about. Right. Going off last season, I would put him in good because him and Bulldog were incredible on the wings. This season, I'm going to put him in average. Simply because it's basically good on the borderline of average. Simply because of last season and this season. Last season he was good. This season he's been average. I still think he's been one of the best players for Sheffield United. He's been moved into centre back due to injuries and all. So it's been a bit of a tough season for him. But I think he is a decent player. He's just struggling on a bad team. So I'm going to go for average. Doug?
I agree. If you're basing on last season, he was probably one of the best left backs in the league last season. Consistency for consistently, Sheffield United were very, very good last season. It's just this season, he is playing in a very, very poor team. But I have to say, he is in the Irish squad, so hopefully he will do well for Ireland on Wednesday or Thursday. I can't actually remember the games on this week. But what I can say is I think Ender Stevens should be an average for me.
Pete, just to quickly answer your question, we're just going in the order. We're just going in the order on the tier list because it's too messed up and too mocked up to go through and correct everyone. It just saves so much time because this takes a good 2 hours to do. George?
Yeah, I'd sort of place them in average. Sheffield United are as Reece sort of said, are diabolical. But obviously they've at the same time they have given ourselves, obviously Manchester United, they have given us quite a game off. Obviously, than the 2 games we played them. So, and obviously when I've sort of seen him, I'd sort of place him in average, particularly looking at the rest of the tier list we've already got. So average for me.
And Reece.
Everyone turns up against Man United. You go straight to Alberto Moreno level. So worst defence in the league. Why do they deserve to be above Alberto Moreno?
Sorry, Reece. Moving on to guys close to my heart. Doug?
Yeah, Jamal Lewis. Look, I'm going to be quite honest here. He's playing in a poor team, but he actually deserved to get his move in the summer. I think he should have left Norwich way too. I think he should have left a lot earlier than he did. He is playing in a poor team, but he is a solid left back for me, Jamal Lewis. So I would probably put him borderline good, borderline average for me. Josh?
I'm going to put him in average. Going forward, he is a really, really talented left back, but say defensively, that guy cannot defend. Like he couldn't defend at Norwich. He couldn't do it at Newcastle for the Northern Ireland team. He is so bad. Like I remember in the playoff final against Slovakia, he was terrible. terrible. Defensively, the kid needs to improve. He's really young. He's got a bright future ahead of him. He was linked to Liverpool for a reason, but defensively, the guy has to improve. He's going to be literally another Marcus Alonso at pace. So for me, he's average because he still has a lot of defensive work to improve.
Nathan?
Yeah, he's not. He's got nothing going back in defence. He should have gone up to the Premier League years ago. I mean, Norwich, they've never really been strong defensively, even in the Championship. I think they've been particularly poor there this season. But apart from that, I completely said it there. He's a lot like, he's a worse Trent Alexander-Arnold, except this guy cannot defend at all compared to Trent. But
Can't defend anyway.
I've got to go average, maybe poor.
George?
I'm sort of like borderline between average and poor, really. Obviously, like you sort of mentioned, Doug, he got his move obviously from Norwich in the summer, but I think offensively he is quite good. Obviously, he's got good ball carrying techniques. Obviously, quite a nice cross on him as well when he's called upon. He's relatively okay in the tackle as well. But yeah, I think overall, I'll be generous slightly and place him an average if I had to be pushed on it.
Just to your point, Nathan, I am a Raven supporter, and I remember him as a running back very, very well. If we could bring him back in a day, I bloody would. Talking about a trade, I'd trade anything for him back.
Reece?
He's all right. I mean, he's good going forward, but he's susceptible at the back, and that's a worry for me. If he wants to get better, he really needs to improve defensively. Also, I've just noticed, how come we've not got James Justin listed?
I was thinking that
James Justin will be there. I'll add him in later on.
Magic, yeah, but for me, I'm putting him in poor. Not Justin. Jamal Lewis. I'm putting him in poor. I don't think he's particularly good enough.
Okay. But by vote he goes in the average. Pete, I wish I could talk in this all with you, but I don't know how much of you watched this last season, but hopefully J.K. Dobbins, obviously, who was our rookie last year, could
please let us go first for the next one.
But that's all I'm going to say. I started with Manchester United's backup left back Alex Telles. He joined in the summer. This guy was really good at Porto. Chelsea were linked to him so many times, but I'm honestly going to say we dodged a bullet. I don't think he suits the Premier League. I think he's terrible in the Premier League. And he is nowhere near as good of a left back as I thought Manchester United. I thought United were signing a good backup left back to compete with Shaw. But nope, I was completely wrong. This guy just not suit the Premier League. And I think he is going in poor compared to the player that he showed that he could be in the Portuguese league. Doug?
I think he's shocking. Great at Porto. Absolutely fantastic at Porto. But every time I've seen him play for Man United, there have been a couple of good games that he has had, but the rest, I mean, yesterday, he might have set up the goal for Greenwood yesterday, but apart from that, it's poor. He is a poor left back for me.
Okay, Nathan?
Yeah, he just doesn't suit the Premier League system at all, or the style of play. God knows what this guy would be like in the Championship. I think he'd be absolutely abysmal, quite frankly, or even playing for Burnley or someone.
I just seen Kieran say something funny. Kieran, just to correct you, that guy there, that's not Socrates. That's Cautionelli, not Socrates. Socrates was the Greek. He was the Greek centre back.
Is that Kolasinac?
That's
Kolasinac.
Yeah.
Oh my God! No.
Wow.
Kolasinac is on loan at Schalke. It's Socrates is the centre back who's at Olympic Alos now. So we're going to keep on, Nathan.
But yeah, imagine if he was playing for Burnley, he would be absolutely eaten alive, and they would literally throw him out of the door to, I don't know, Salford City or someone, and then he still flopped there because he doesn't suit the style of play in this country. But I don't think he's Alberto Moreno levels, but I think Paul Dummett would actually do a better job than him, so I'm going to put him in poor.
Fair enough. George?
I'm going to completely disagree with all of you and say that he's very good.
Are you high?
I'm not high, no. He has been very good for us. Obviously, I've watched every single Manchester United game this season, and the only problem for him has been that he's had lack of appearances. Every single time that he's played, he's been obviously top of chance creation out of any Manchester United player every time that he plays. And that's because he is very good offensively. He's always creating. He's extremely good on crosses, extremely good on corners. He's very solid defensively. There's no there's no times that you could say that a goal was due down to him, that he's made a mistake that's due down to a goal. Like I said, incredibly solid defensively, very good offensively. Like I said, all the chances that he's created, very good runner. The only issue for him, as I said, well, thank you. But the only issue for him has been, like I said, has obviously been the form of Luke Shaw. But Telles is very good. Like I said, very good passer, very good going forward. I think he doesn't necessarily suit Ollie Ball as much. Well, obviously, I won't quite get into. I won't quite get into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because I'd go off on one about him. But in terms of his defensive football, but Alex Telles is very good.
Right, Reece, you seem to completely disagree. So, what do you think?
Oh, I completely disagree. I mean, we bought this guy from Porto where he was like their top, like literally the top for them for goals. He was the top for them for assists and all that, and creating chances. When he's played for United, he's done very little. Yeah, I like Alex Telles. He's got world class man bun. But other than that, he's been poor in performances. He's done relatively nothing. Even when he's played, last night he was shocking. Like, I'm sorry, but last night I don't know what the fuck. Like, I really need to chill. He wasn't good yesterday. He's only had one good game all season. For me, that was probably the PSG game. Like, he has not. Even when he's played it, he hasn't done enough for me. I'm not going to put him in poor. That's probably harsh, but very good. Like, nah, I'm sorry. Nah, I'm going to put him in average. I want him to do better.
Yesterday was more about, obviously, both Telles and Wan-Bissaka it was more about the defeat. Yesterday was more about our CDMs, who were horrendous, absolutely awful, and obviously the centre backs again. In our sort of system, we often have to try and protect those centre backs, and obviously again, both Telles and Wan-Bissaka had to stop goals and stop chances being created especially because our CDMs kept losing the ball. Like I said, for me, Telles has been very good.
I've not seen him do it in terms of offense. I haven't seen him being very effective going forward, like so far this season. Like, I think maybe once or twice, particularly, but he hasn't done anything else, like offensive wise. Like,
he has created he has created a lot of good chances for us, and like I said, he has dominated in terms of chance creation. And that's obviously why Luke. Well, we'll get on to Shaw in a moment, and obviously that in our sort of system, the fullbacks are very important for creation, and in terms of how Ollie plays, he could also play with inverted wingers. And so the fullbacks, obviously, I mean, I sent Doug a DM that showed, especially since January, that both Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw have been first and second, respectively, in chance creation in the Premier League. And that's because of the way that Manchester United play. And like I said, Telles has been a key part of that and has been very good, but he'll obviously go into a different category. I'm just saying that for me, it's very good.
Yeah, he's came in, and that's given Shaw a boost. Yeah, fair play, but other than that, like, there's the fact that he has come in, he's helped Luke Shaw improve his game massively going forward. I think I'll give Telles credit where credit's due in terms of chance creation. Like, he certainly can do that. It's just he's not done enough when he's played. He hasn't done particularly enough. He should be doing more. He's supposed to be an attacking fullback. Mm-hmm. Luke Shaw can cross a ball better than him. I'm sorry, but he can. He's proven it, like, in the games he's played. He can cross a ball better than him. Telles is supposed to be one of the best crossers in the world for his position.
I don't agree with that.
I've barely seen him cross a ball successfully.
We'll have to move on, but I don't agree with that.
Basically, judging off what we've said and what the chat said, there's been a massive... We basically are going to go on the borderline. Tell us we'll go on average because there's such a disagreement between us five and between the chat that we will go with in the middle decision. And some people are saying poor, some say average, some say good, so he'll go in the middle off those three. So we'll move on to United starting left back.
Yeah, Luke Shaw. This pains me to say as a Liverpool fan, but for me, he's one of the best in the league. This season in particular, he has come on leaps and bounds. So pains me to say this, but he is definitely best in the league for me.
Finally.
Josh?
Roberto Moreno. No, I'm joking. Yes, I'm going best in the league. He's been the best. He's been the best left back this season for any club. He's been the best left back in the whole league. He's been incredible. The guy is improving as each season goes on. Even when he's played as the third centre back, sometimes under Solskjaer, he's done an incredible job there. No complaints about him. This guy and Bruno are definitely keeping United in the top four for sure.
Nathan?
Yeah, he's been Man United's standout player all season, really. I'd say absolutely superb. It's great to see him finally having a great season for United as well. It pains me to say it as well. Best in the league.
George?
Just as my username says. So Luke Shaw.
And Reece, I think we know where this is going, Reece.
Luke Shaw, he is one of potentially 4 of these players that are getting the best in the league for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going in best in the league. Like the fact that there's people calling him overrated. I mean, I'm sorry, but like no.
Well, this guy will not be going in best in the league. Benjamin Mendy. I am going to say this now. Benjamin Mendy should not be a footballer. He should not be a footballer. He is mince, Alberto Moreno.
Oh damn! I don't know if he's a Bertrand Moreno level. Exactly. This is difficult. Mendy. This is really difficult. I'm going to put him in 4. I don't think he is as bad as Alberto Moreno, and I definitely don't think he's as bad as Masiaki.
Oh my god!
But we're literally talking about a guy who's literally on the same. We're literally talking about the guy who's on the same level as Masiaki. I don't think he's that bad.
And below Paul Dummett as well.
Come on, man! Come on! Every time I've seen Mendy, he has looked shockingly bad.
What has he done? What has he done in that Man City team? Yes, he's won trophies, like fair play, but what has he actually contributed to any of them? I don't think he's done any of them.
To be fair, he's been out injured most of the time. So.
Put it this way: Mendy is not Gail Clichy. I will say that now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right. Okay. Yeah, okay. I just remembered a certain game when City played against us at Stamford Bridge last year under Frank Lampard. I remember the absolute disaster class he had. I remember he got absolutely done by Pulisic for the first goal. So very simple for that simple reason, I am going to put him in Alberto Moreno because that game reminded me how bad he actually is.
Nathan?
I just can't put this guy below Paul Dummett, unfortunately. I'm probably going to put him in Paul. And I think he's not worse than Kieran Gibbs. I mean, he has pace about him. He had some good moments at Monaco as well. But, yeah, I've got to put him in Paul, guys.
George?
Just to answer Matthew's question really quickly. Well, he's saying I'm naive. Matthew, I don't follow Mendy on Twitter. I've not seen any tweets about him. Frankly, if that's what gets his contributions to City, then frankly he deserves Alberto Moreno just for that.
Jimmy, I think you're trolling at this point. You don't think he's better than Luke Shaw, surely?
He is pish.
George?
Ben Chilwell is better than him.
It is difficult with Mendy really because obviously he is.
I know it's jokes, Matthew, but I've never seen him. I've never seen a tweet.
He is a bit of a meme, obviously, in the fact that he's injured so often and how many times he's sort of sliding around. I think it was with the World Cup as well. He was sort of sliding around, having contributed nothing to it. So he has become that, and obviously injuries really have hampered and sort of debilitated him. But in terms of his overall talent, I think he is a good left back. I think offensively, he's obviously contributes a lot with good crosses and good balls and things like that. The only issue is obviously his fitness, which is always going to have a bad impact on him. So I would say overall, I'd place him in average.
Reece?
Yeah, Ben Chilwell was just the first player that came to mind. I think they're both shit. I genuinely don't think he's good at all. I think he's playing in the wrong league. If he wants to be a footballer, he should go back to France, which suits him. I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. I don't think he ever will be. I'm surprised Man City have kept him this long. Frankly, they should move him on. In fact, no, keep him and just keep playing him as your left back. That'll probably work. For me, he's awful. He goes in the Alberto Moreno category for me. It says all that when it says all they played midfielders over him in that position. That says it all for me.
Yeah.
So we have our second Alberto Moreno victim. Start going to now. What do you call it? I'm actually going to. I'm going to do something. So we're going to act like Caution Alley is Cancelo, because Cancelo has technically been.
That's Kolasinac.
Kolasinac.
Sorry. He's been. We're acting like Kolasinac is Cancelo because Cancelo has technically been the starter at left back for Man City this year. He is naturally a right back, but given that the left backs for City aren't particularly great, Cancelo has technically been the starting left back. So I'm going to put Cancelo in good. I think he's had actually a really, really good year, given he's been out of position. No. I think Pete will agree with me. I think Pete will agree with me in chat, because I know City fans like him. I know, given he's been out of position, he has improved a lot this year defensively. He could maybe be a bit better. But City fans do rate him. City fans do say he's been good. When he's been at right back, he's probably been far better than Kyle Walker. But if you put it left back, and I think he's done a good job. I think he is actually quite a good fullback. He did well defense as well, so I put him in good. Hopefully, Pete can clarify what City fans think of him. But I've seen City fans rate him quite highly. Nathan.
Yeah, I can see why Man City fans rate him as well, personally.
Oh, you're missing me, are you?
No, I'll come back to you at the end since you interrupted me.
Yeah, I mean, how he's adapted to go to the other side, I think he's done pretty superb. Looking at the rest of the tier list, I've got to put him in good, guys.
Go on, Doug.
100% disagree with both of you.
Ooh.
This season, Cancelo has outplayed Kyle Walker. He has outplayed Alexander Zinchenko, and he has outplayed Mendy. Everyone called him a flop last season, but this season, I think consistently he has been a very, very good left back for Manchester City. So I'm going to borderline best in the league / very good.
Actually, can you go up a sec, Josh, to have a look who's in very good and good? He's got to go above Johnny. Very good.
I'm going to say beyond the 90 is Neil.
Yep.
Yeah, hiya Neil. I just knew you were going to pop up eventually.
Last week took all this week actually called how much this is costing.
I mean, to be fair, Neil, at least it wasn't. At least you didn't have to face Cardiff before going to Wembley. So at least you made it there this time. So fair play.
George.
I'm going to agree with Doug and place him in very good. Obviously, he's probably going to start for Portugal as well. I think the upcoming Euros, obviously a right back. And yeah, he is. Yeah. I've seen, obviously, unfortunately, we tend to meet Manchester City quite a lot. And every time that I've seen him, he's been very good. He's very good. He's very solid defensively. What I like about him, obviously, and this is the sort of key thing really for Pep, isn't it? Is that obviously you have to be very composed and assured on the ball. And I think he's also a very good ball player as well. He's sort of one of those a typical sort of Pep player, really. Very, very good. So very good for me.
Just to say, because of the way I've got the screen, because it's zoomed in, I totally forgot. I had a very good section, so I would move Cancelo up. I totally forgot we had it. I want to best in the league and good, so yeah, Cancelo good is very good for me. I completely forgot it was a thing. Then I continue on.
Reece?
To be honest, I actually like Chinchilla. Like, he's a player that I rave about. To a few people I know, but that's because I've watched him at Juventus and he was particularly good. And obviously, he is a good player. He's evolved this season. Like, he's not just playing a left back; he's moving into central midfield as well. So he's sort of like he is changing his position up a little bit. He's started evolving more. He's getting into the central midfield position where he's allowing the likes of Gundogan and Foden, etc., to go forward. that positional play by Man City is getting even better with him involved in the squad. I think Doug's spot on. Like, he's been absolutely fantastic this season. One of their best players, not their best player this season, but one of them.
Yeah.
I would honestly put him in very good.
Very, so Cancelo goes into very good. He's obviously not there for some reason in this tier list that Doug sent me. #being Doug. But I'll find some way to put him in very good for when we take the screenshot at the end. So moving on to the third choice, left back, I guess.
Alexander Zinchenko. Now, there was a record that was broken last season when Manchester City played Chelsea. In every game Alexander Zinchenko had started, City never lost a game. So he was he is good, bordering on average, I would say. He's probably going to start for Ukraine this week against France, so it'll be interesting to see how he does with that
So
one.
Willie, but do you think he'll play left back, or do you think he'll play his natural position of central midfield?
I think he plays his usual left midfielder as well. I would put him in average, in all honesty. Josh?
Yes, I agree. I go with average. Zinchenko, when he comes into the team, he does a job. But like comparing him to the players that we have in good, which is Johnny and Bertrand, I don't think he is quite as good as what those two do for their team. I think there's quite a drop off between Cancelo and him. You know, when you look at drop offs in terms of, is there a really big drop off? Is it average? Or is it really, really good? But I think this kid has more potential, and he hasn't lived up to it at all. And if he trained and pushed a bit harder, maybe took a bit more repetitive pace, well, he would probably be a very good left back. But I think he's average. I don't think he's done it. I don't think he's done enough compared to what he probably could have.
Interesting. The chat is saying good, so interesting. Nathan?
I'm inclined with the chat tonight.
We like Josh is. I'm going to play the controversy alarm to this. That's better, the controversy alarm. But personally, whenever I see him on the ball, he just looks really scared. I mean, he has as much composure as a rookie chef going into Gordon Ramsay's kitchen at 1 a.m. after 10 shots of tequila. So it doesn't work out well for him. Going back, he is sort of getting there, but on the ball, it just makes me worry about him sometimes. And looking at other players in the list, Bertrand, I would say Bertrand over Zinchenko any day of the week. While sometimes looking in both attacking wise and in particular as well defensive wise. Doug shaking his head there. I don't rate him defensively, guys. I'm going to say average, definitely. If I put him in poor, then that would just be criminal because he's in the same as Paul Dummett, but average.
George?
I'm sort of going to agree with the chat, really. I think he is a good left back. Every time that I've seen him, obviously he's had to really step in quite often for Pep Guardiola because obviously Benjamin Mendy's constantly injured. And every time I've seen Zinchenko, he's one of those players that is, you know, very solid and reliable for Manchester City. And you always have to be sort of, you know, aware of how many accolades and how many matches they've won, and you can't. I don't think you can be an average player, I think, and play that often for Manchester City. And that, like I say, every time that I've seen him, and as I sort of mentioned, we've unfortunately played Manchester City a lot of times over the last year and a bit. I've always been, you know, I've always thought he's been a good left back. So I'd place him in good. He's good on the ball, good defensively as well. So yeah, good.
Reece?
I think he's a better midfielder than a fullback, but when he has played, he has been relatively consistent. I think he brings his qualities as a midfielder to the left back role to be more effective going forward. It's just the lack of defending that's a worry for me. But to be honest, he's getting into that position now where he's clearly going to be used as a left back, not a midfielder. So it looks like he is starting to improve on the defensive aspects. I actually think he's a good player. I think putting him below good's a bit of an injustice to him, really.
Okay, we'll put him in good then. I think the majority of the chat would have put him good. Kieran, that joke, oh dear. I don't know, John.
Moving on to what I believe is the Greece left back that Liverpool signed in the summer. I can't say his name, Doug, so if you could help me out here.
Kostas Tsimikas. I'm going to be honest with you, he's hardly played. Andy Robertson has kept him out of the team for a wee while. I think he's only played a handful of games as well, so don't know enough.
When you said totally honest, when you said totally honest, I thought you were going to say Alberto Moreno level. I was like, yes.
No. Don't know enough. I think he's only played a handful of minutes, Kostas Tsimikas, so definitely don't know enough.
Not an absolute baldy notion about him. Don't know enough.
I think it's all I think it's going to be unanimous. Well, I would say
I think so.
I just remember. I can't remember what game it was, but I do remember. I think it was against Everton where Klopp subbed him on for absolutely no reason, and all Liverpool fans like, "Why are you bringing on a left back when we need to win the game?" That's all I remember the day.
What I will say about Kostas Tsimikas, he looked very, very good looking when he actually came to Liverpool. Now, ever since the bad run has happened, he looks like he's seen a ghost. His hair's all over the place.
All right, so we're moving on to the starting left back, Andy Robertson. I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him in very good. I don't think he is quite best in the league, but I still think he's very good. I think he's really good. I think he is actually quite good at defending. I think he obviously isn't as good going forward, but I think he has perfect size to the game. I just don't know if he's still. I don't think he's on the same level as Luke Shaw, especially based off this year too. So he doesn't quite make it, but I will still go very good. I'll go borderline between best league and very good, but I'll put him very good. I'm basing it off this season. If this season didn't count, he would be best in the league, but this season he has dropped off a little.
I disagree. I absolutely disagree. I don't care what anybody is saying. Andy Robertson has been Liverpool's most consistent player this season, without a shadow of a doubt. He always puts in a 7 or 8 out of 10 in every single game that he's played. He has the odd occasional bad game, but for me, you know what? Like you can say that you can say that it's not been his best season, but do you know what? Like the thing is, Andy Robertson has been our most consistent left back this season, so he has to be best in the league for me, alongside Shaw. I don't care what anybody else says. Call me biased or anything, but for me, Robertson isn't best in the league.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you're going from Hull City in just mediocrity there, bearing in mind they're in League One now, all the way up to one of the best left backs in the world consistently, and we're playing in that Liverpool defence, and to be that consistent, considering the amount of injuries he has next to him, and still be able to support him as much as he can, Liverpool would absolutely be lost right now if they did not have him this season. I think they would be out of the top 10 personally. He has got to be best left back in the league, in the same category as Luke Shaw.
George? Oh, sorry, Josh, sorry.
Happens. I did it last time too.
That Alberto Moreno category is looking a bit slim, isn't it? I think we need to beef out with Andy Robertson.
Don't you dare!
If Reece goes with me, then we've got him in the category, I think. No, obviously on a more serious note, before Doug has a heart attack, I would place him in best in the league as well. He's one of the players. Doug knows this as well, because I have sort of said to him before, but he's one of those players that obviously you've seen so often, and he's always, every time that you see him, you're always impressed. An incredible engine and work rate, obviously getting up and down. He's extremely good offensively and defensively as well. Every single time that I've seen him, obviously contributes many assists, and obviously defensively, incredibly solid, incredibly good. Best in the league without a doubt.
And Reece, to finish it off for you.
Oh God. Okay, where to begin? He's Scotland's captain. That's it. You know what? To be fair, right? I'll give credit where credit's due in terms of like creating goals, being effective from the left-hand side. He's going to be effective for Scotland. It's the fact he plays for Liverpool that pains me. But to be fair, see, this is why. Why'd you put me last?
I've already put him in the category. So I'll leave you.
If I had to say it, I would say very good, just because I think he's had a significant drop off this year. However, but that's like so has a lot of players. But I would have him as very good, borderline best in the league. But that's as far as I'll go. I won't say definitively. Sorry, Doug, I just can't.
It's all right. Man United were actually tracking him before he went to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I actually know that. I actually know that for a fact. But Manchester United were tracking him.
They were looking at him.
So I don't know who this guy is, but we're going to act like he's James Justin, Doug. So.
If we're talking about James Justin, before he had his injury. Again, I think he has been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant this season. I think he's very good defensively. He's very good going forward as well. I just think James Justin would have been called up for England had it not been for that really bad ACL injury. But I know No Anthony's in the chat, no Neil's in the chat. I think we had Leicester City fan TV in here at some point as well. I'm going to be honest. I think another best in the league for me, James Justin, is a fantastic so-called left back, so-called right back. For me, he's one of the best in the league for me.
Fair enough. Nathan?
Yeah, he's got to go in very good. Absolutely phenomenal this season. He can do everything on the pitch. He can attack, he can defend. Perfect left back, so very good.
Anyone can be there, so half our Coldbridge.
Did you say anything for Justin, Josh?
No, I don't really say anything. I agree with everyone. I think I put him in very good. I think what he's done at his age, coming through the academy, coming as a starting left back for Leicester, the guy was doing it all. I feel so bad for him. I feel so bad for him that he got that injury, because he could generally be probably the young player of the year this year, without a shadow of a doubt. George?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think very good for him. You sort of covered all the bases really. You can do anything, can be anything that he wants to be really. So yeah, very good for me.
And Reece?
If he didn't get injured, he'd be best in the league.
Just before we move on,
very good.
Just before we move on, I've got some honourable mentions from Helly from terms of description. So she said about Luke Shaw, he's the best in the league. He's got it all: pace, crosses, ball, carrying, passes, tracks back, tackles, and defence. Feisty, consistently excellent all season. Best player in the squad. My player of the year. I'm sure George and Reece will agree with that. Regarding Talent, she said he's good, great crosser of the ball, corners, got pace, just lacking the defensive spark. And then regarding Andy Robertson, very good, intelligent player, creative and superb last season. And then last but not least, Cancelo, very good, can play both sides. He also makes moves onto the pitch, playmaker material.
Mm-hmm. Last season, he definitely was best in the league.
And also, Leicester only paid $8 million for Justin as well. I think that's that.
Luke Shaw does have pace, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry, but he is actually a very quick player. Honest to God.
Yeah.
Thanks. Exactly. Anyway, Golden Dog, all yours.
Christian Fuchs. I am not putting him in poor because he's a Premier League winner, and I'm not putting him in average because he is a solid left back. Whenever he has been called upon, I think he is a good left back. So for me, Christian Fuchs goes in the good category.
Yes.
Yeah, he's doing good.
I've got to put him in good. I think I think it would be extremely unfair to. I think it would be extremely unfair to kind of judge him off appearances these days because that age has definitely caught up to him. But he was extremely good in that year Leicester won the league. He's a veteran. I think he's helped. I think he's a big reason why James Justin has been really good. I think his experience on the training ground obviously showed across. So yeah, I would agree with Christian Fuchs as actually good.
Bloody hell, Kieran.
I would put Christian Fuchs in the good category, given his overall career has been absolutely amazing.
He was phenomenal that title winning season.
So can we get your live reaction to the Leeds Liverpool fur kit?
I can't see it because your face is gone the live bit. Put yourself on full screen. Yeah, that was shit. That looks horrible.
I love that. I'm sorry. I absolutely love that. It's retro. It's going back to the yellow kit that we had in the 90s. Yep, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Okay, I continue on, Doug.
It looks like somebody's been sick and designed a football top. I'm sorry, man, but that's what it looks like. Or it looks like a top covered in piss.
George, where are you putting Christian Fuchs?
Yeah, for me, I mean, to be honest with you, if we were sort of talking about when he was younger, I would have placed him very good. But it's not his fault. Obviously, he's now 34, so you can't really expect him to be obviously playing week in, week out. But he's been obviously at the top level for a long, long time. And you know that as I said, that title winning season for Leicester, he was obviously that they were. Claudio Ranieri continued to play the same 11 week in, week out, and he was obviously a mainstay at left back and was absolutely sensational all that season. So yeah, I'd place him in good if we're talking this season, but obviously he would be in very good if you're talking about an entire career, but good for the purposes of this list.
Reece?
He's just an overall good player. Like, I don't think there's anything negative you can say about him. He's just extremely reliable when he's called upon. Obviously, age is catching up to him. He's not particularly going to play many games in the coming years. He's consistent overall. So yeah, for me, good.
All right, so
Josh, next for you.
So the next one, we're obviously going down to the result of the Leeds left backs.
Let me go first.
So I don't know how you say his name, but I believe he's pronounced as Alioski. I think it's
Alioski, yeah.
Alioski, yeah.
He's I don't know. He's in and out of the team. I'm gonna put him in average.
He's good.
He was actually quite good against Chelsea. To be fair to him, I thought he had a good game against Chelsea in that 0 each. I think he was defensively. He was actually really, really good, and he causes a few threats on the overlap. But he hasn't played in the team consistently enough, and I have watched him a few. I have watched him a few times. In terms of like when you watch Match of the Highlights, you do see he makes quite a few mistakes. So
I'm not having this.
I think he's inconsistent, and because he's inconsistent, I'm putting him in average. Doug?
I'm not having that.
Alioski's only highlight of this season was getting Nicolas Pepe sent off. Poor.
Nathan?
Balls. I was originally going to put him in good because I think he has had some okay moments this year. And looking back when looking at his past and stuff, I'd say he's been fairly decent for him, but the Leeds defence this year is just crumbling.
Put me on full screen, please.
No, I can't put him in the same category as Paul Dummett. He's going average.
Put me on full screen so people can see this.
2 seconds, please.
The people need to see this.
George?
I'm going to agree with Doug and Reece. Obviously, Reece just in writing, but Doug obviously verbally, and plays him in poor every time I've seen him. Leeds definitely sort of struggle defensively. It's it's one of those things with under Bielsa where it's almost like sort of pinball, trying to score. I'll score one, you score one, so forth. So obviously they've conceded countless amounts of goals, and I place him in poor.
Oh, I wrote a speech. It was 3 words and an exclamation mark.
Go on, Reece.
Good going forward. Shite defensively. That's Leeds. Alberto Moreno level.
Right, so we have a tie. Judging by the chat, it does look like he goes into the average category by majority chat. There's a few poor, I say more average than poor, but literally by one extra comment. So
I think the next one's Stuart Dallas, who has
Dallas.
played in so many positions this season. He has been left midfield, left back, centre midfield. I think he's played right midfield. I think he may have played right back as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Versatile. If you're Mr. Versatile, then
he's been pimped out for positions.
Do you want to hear where he's played for Northern Ireland? You ready to hear this? Centre back, left back, right back, left mid, right mid, centre midfield, defensive midfield, attacking midfield. He's the only position he's not played for Northern Ireland is striker.
So he's been pimped out for positions then.
Holy macaroni! Wow. Well, if we put Alioski in average, I would put Dallas in average.
Right, I'm being biased because he's Northern Irish. I'm putting him in good because this is just being pure being biased. He is actually voted to be besides behind Patrick Banford as Leeds' best player in the league this year. He is versatile. He puts in 100%. He has the effort. He's an incredible guy for Northern Ireland. So from a biased Northern Irish, and also judging by what I've seen from Leeds fans, I'm putting him in good. But other than that, I haven't watched enough Leeds games to make a full-on conclusive decision on that.
Next page.
The thing is with him, I've got to put him above Alioski. He is in good. Dallas has been superb this year. Assists, some goals, excellent.
Okay, interesting. George?
Oh yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. I think place him in good. Obviously, it's Doug sort of talked about very much a utility player, and obviously Josh has sort of reiterated that in terms of where he's played for his country. But yeah, you always need those sort of players who are dependable, extremely competent, and he's obviously versatility. You've got to give him, I think, extra marks for that because it shows an incredible aptitude as a footballer to be so adaptable. So good for me.
Go on, Reece. What have you got for us?
He isn't there.
Right, so
he's okay. He's an okay player, but it's just a letdown he's playing for Leeds.
I don't actually know who the third left back is for Leeds. I don't know.
It's not Ailings. He's a midfielder.
Leif
Davis. I think they should play.
Don't know enough.
Don't know enough. We'll use him for a different face later on. So we'll move on to the Fulham left back.
Anthony Robinson, who I believe is American. Is that right?
American boy.
Correct. I think he played against us against Wales in a friendly.
Yeah, I think he's actually in the American squad. So, oh my goodness. Oh no, our starting insert position here is injured. Jesus Christ.
I don't think Reece likes Leeds. What was your first clue?
I think Anthony Robertson is a good left back. So for me, he's good.
I'm going to put him in average. I think at the start of the season he had a really rocky road. I think he struggled as the whole Fulham team did, but he was included. He did struggle. I think he has been crucial to Fulham's decent run of form, but I think he's too inconsistent. I feel like he could be doing a little bit more to help Fulham because he can be easily attacked and he does struggle to be ran at. So. I think he's got a lot. I think he is young. I think he's got a lot ahead of him, but I think he's average. I think if he keeps going the way he is this season with a level of improvement, he'll be good by the end of the season. But as things stand, good average for me.
Nathan,
I completely disagree with you both. I think he has been one of the standout players for Fulham this year, and that's the reason that they haven't been bottom of the league, quite frankly. If you look at that team with that defence, how on earth has he managed to do so well with that? Fair play to him. He is borderline going on in very good, so I'm going to put him in good.
Yeah, boy.
I put him in good as well. George?
Well, he's going to go in good now anyway, isn't he? But I'd sort of place him in. I think I'd place him average. I think he's He has looked good, obviously, once he's got the ball under control. But a lot of the time, I've sort of seen him. He does suffer a bit from his touch. So I think he still is. Obviously, Josh has sort of spoken about him as well. He's got gears to go up into. He is still quite young. So I think especially if I'm looking at all the Premier League left backs that we've gone through, I think I'm going to place him in average.
All right, okay, Reece.
I actually think he's quite a good player. He's been significant for Fulham this year, and obviously, like I said, Fulham are surviving this season. They're going to beat Newcastle in the end of the season. I think he's going to be a key part in it, to be honest. He is right. He's got some things he needs to work on, but he is very young, which is actually considerably good for him, because obviously he's played at the top level for the first. I'm pretty sure it's his first ever season in the Premier League. So this is actually a good learning experience for him. On the grounds of that, not many young players are going to hit the ground running, especially for a team that's expected to get relegated. I don't think they're going to get relegated. I think they're staying up. I think he's going to be a good player for Fulham in the long term. I think he's actually a good player. I would put him in good, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he goes in good.
Good is good by the majority. Next one is, I think if my memory serves me right, it is Tim Ream. I think it's back.
No, Joe Bryan. Joe Bryan.
That's Joe Bryan. Tim Ream must be a different one then. Joe Bryan.
Hardly played, isn't he? He's hardly played.
He has hardly played.
I don't rate him.
But he did start. He was the starter left back with Fulham in the Premier League last time they were here. And I'm going to judge him off the Championship too, and I'm going to put him in poor because I think the guy can't defend to save his life. He's not a left back, that's for sure.
He got the goal for Fulham to come into the Premier League in the first place.
Both goals in that playoff final.
Yeah, playoff final against Brentford. So yeah, if you're saying he's a poor defender, I don't think you can say that. For me, he's average. He's not better than Robinson. For me, I think he's average.
Nathan.
I'm actually going to put him in Alberto Moreno. Every time he's played against us, Cardiff City, he has been absolutely dire. In some games I've seen him,
wow.
And other times I really don't rate him at all, and I can't put him above the likes of Benjamin Mendy. He has got to go in Alberto Moreno, guys.
George.
I was but obviously, sort of Nathan's thrown in that spanner about Benjamin Mendy, because obviously I do actually think that Benjamin Mendy's been slightly hard done by with placing him there. But I think I'd agree with Doug, just sort of placing him in average. Obviously, as Doug's sort of spoken about, he did get obviously a couple of goals that obviously meant that Fulham obviously got up to the Premier League in that playoff final. Obviously, a very quick thinking free kick, and also a very calm and composed finish for the winner in that match as well. So I think just on the basis of what he's done for Fulham, especially obviously, in that regard, I'd place him in average.
And Reece.
He's a Timo Pukki of left backs, Alberto Moreno level.
Unfortunately, it's 3-2, so he goes in the average by 3-2. Doug has decided to die. He's oh, he's back.
There we go.
What's your left, Doug?
I didn't leave these, for goodness sake. The next left back is somebody who I've never even heard of, never even saw play. But according to my good friend Cameron, he says that he is bordering on a very good left back, but still too young to tell. So
do you disagree with that then?
Yeah, I don't even know who he is.
It's Niels and Kunku, but yeah, I haven't seen him play enough, so yeah.
Right, well, we move on then to Lucas Digne. Obviously,
there's only one place he's got to go. There's only one place.
Yeah. Best in the league. One
Hands
of
down.
the most consistent left backs for Everton. I think he's created. I think it's something like. I think he's third highest in chances created across all 5 European leagues, which is absolutely magnificent. So I am going to say this, and it pains me to say this again, but Digne, best in the league.
Do we all agree?
Best in the league, no question at all.
Yeah, 100%.
What's Balham referencing now?
I have no idea.
No, not that one. The one before.
Oh, the United stand. I have no idea.
What's like? I don't watch that shite anyway. But what's the whole toxic thing about them? Frankly, I hope the channel gets shut down soon.
We're not toxic on. We're not toxic. We're not toxic on here.
I hope that channel gets shut down. I've never watched it, but it's just a load of shite hosted by a Forest fan.
All right, Doug.
Oh yeah, we've got that wee video from Cameron, but I don't know if it'll be too loud enough.
I take it we're not going to all discuss Digne. We're just run the.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's too quiet. It's just too much technical difficulties. Unfortunately for it, I'll try and get it in there. I'll try and get it in next time for Cameron if I can work something out.
Yeah, anyways. The next one is Tyrek Mitchell. I think that's
Mitchell, yeah.
I don't know enough about him.
Don't know enough. I'm sorry.
I've seen him quite a few times this season, actually, guys. And I'm going to put him average, borderline good. He has been absolutely excellent in that Palace defence. Underappreciated, filled in where Van Aanholt has been out of the team. I'd say he's really underrated. Average, maybe good.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
I will go with Nathan. Mitchell has been a really. I believe he was signed in the summer.
Yeah.
He is quite young. He is a good prospect. I think he is definitely one for the future for Crystal Palace. I think coming into the I think I can't put him on good because you put him on the likes of Bertrand and Zinchenko and all of that. I can't put him on that level given he hasn't played as many games. But I think he's so just judging by that, I think he's average, but I think he has a really good bar. I think next season he has to be a starting left back for Crystal Palace.
Absolutely.
Did you say his first name was
Dimitri? Relegated, then he's leaving the club. I'm sorry.
Did you say his first name was Dimitri?
Tyrek.
No, Tyrek.
Oh, right, that's fine because there's only one good left back with Mitchell and his surname, and that's Dimitri. I don't know anything about this guy, so I'm not going to comment on him, to be honest.
We'll go with what me and Nathan said, and we'll put him on average. Moving on to Patrick Fernando, the Dutchman. He's been a very regular in Crystal Palace's team. I'm going to go with borderline good and average. Either has a wonder game, or he's absolutely dreadful. He's very inconsistent, so he's not below average, but don't think he's been consistent enough to being good. So I'm going to put him at probably an average more than good, expect based off the season more than anything. Doug?
Disagree. I think he's very good. I think he has been one of the most consistent players in the last couple of years for Crystal Palace. He's been starting left back for a long time for Palace. And you know what? If he goes, then he's got a good replacement in waiting for him. I actually think the fact that he and Zaha have lasted this long at Palace is incredible. So for me, he's very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him in good. I can't put him in very good with some of the players in there, but yeah, the second that Zaha, Milhojevic, and also Townsend leave, Palace are in the Championship and stay in there, so I'm putting him in good.
George?
I'd place him in good as well. Doug sort of mentioned it, that he's been with Crystal Palace for a long time. And there is obviously the potential he's going to leave in the summer, but I think whenever I've seen him play, obviously we've often played Crystal Palace. I think he's always been good. He's good offensively, got a very good left foot. I think he's been very important for Palace in terms of contributing the offensive phase, and I've seen him be quite solid defensively, so I'd place him in good.
And Reece.
I just reiterate everything that's been said so far. I put him average, not average. I put him in borderline good, very good. To be honest, I think he's borderline.
Well, judged by chat vote, he goes into good. On to Chelsea's left backs, Doug.
Poor.
I am going to probably really get you to hate me now. I do not rate Ben Chilwell as a left back. He is really, really poor defensively. I am sorry. I don't care what you say. I don't care what any Chelsea fan says to me. But Ben Chilwell I think Leicester fleeced Chelsea for £50 million.
Yeah.
So for me, he is average at best.
My grand's probably three times his age, and she can defend better than Ben Chilwell.
Doug, I do not disagree with you at all. Chilwell started off extremely well under Frank Lampard. I think the first 6-7 games he looked really, really good. He was probably one of our best players. And then towards the end of Frank Lampard's tenure, he deteriorated terribly bad. And then under Tuchel, especially as a left wing back, he has been atrocious. He was terrible against Sheffield United. He was terrible against Leeds. And there's a reason why Alonso started in the bigger, more important games. I think we've wasted money on Chilwell. I think there was better options out there. I'm actually going to go one worse than you. Given that Tuchel's going to be a manager going forward, he's going to be a left wing back going forward. I'm putting him in forward.
Wow, Nathan?
I can't put him Paul Dummett level. I'm going to put him in average. I thought he was very good at Leicester, but moving to Chelsea just hasn't worked for him. I think he needs to be better defensively. I'd say he's even worse defensively than the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold on the other side. I'm probably going to put him in average. He's definitely the likes of Ben Davies, Tyrek Mitchell, that sort of level, and Alioski as well.
George?
I'd place him in average overall. I think he has shown some good offensive capabilities. Maybe not as good defensively. And obviously, you've sort of got to reiterate what Kieran said as well, and obviously what we've already mentioned really about price. Obviously, Leicester are very experienced, and obviously we won't get into Harry Maguire at the moment, but they're very experienced about getting very hefty fees, which maybe the players aren't commensurate with. In other words, their abilities aren't anywhere near the level they should be commanding for that fee. And Ben Chilwell for me, average altogether really.
Reece was applauding when I said about Ben Chilwell. What are your thoughts on Ben Chilwell?
I don't rate him, period. I think he is one of the worst in the league, and like defensively, he's as good as Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he can't defend. That's just how bad Ben Chilwell is. Like he cannot defend. Like I'm sorry, but for me, Nathan won't put him in below because of Paul Dummett. I understand that. I'm not Nathan. I'm harsh. I'm putting him in Alberto Moreno level.
Wow.
He's if he goes into average, so sorry, Reece.
That's fine, obviously.
Emerson Primari, I'm putting him in Alberto Moreno. This guy, why did we sign him? Why did we sign this guy? I am sorry, Chelsea. Why? I'm going to go full screen. For this moment, okay? I just want to say something really depressing here.
Wait a minute, you turn your light on because we can't see you.
You can't see me. You can't see me.
No, we need to see your
You're
face.
not John Cena, mate.
Right.
Turn your lamp on.
I don't have a lamp in here.
Turn your light on. We
Use your phone light.
We need to feel it. So you need to have the light on.
There we go.
Now you don't look fugly.
We signed Bakayoko, Morata, Saber Costa, Emerson, Giroud, Kepa, and Higuain. Emerson, listen, the guy was lap out of a left back that Tuchel's playing him as a first centre back. He can't play left back. He scored a goal he literally came on and scored a goal against Atletico Madrid in the second leg over his first touch of the ball and literally just bagged himself an extra 100k. In the bank for goal difference. This guy, I'm sorry, but why we signed him, why he's on a wage bill, he is no better than Danny Drinkwater. I'm putting him in Alberto Moreno. Doug?
I don't know why you signed him. I actually do not know why you signed him. Apparently he was meant to be this big thing coming from Roma, and he has just proven to be just terrible. Really, really poor. I'm being kind enough to say this, but for me, he is Alberto Moreno level. Absolutely.
Just picture a bird flying by. This is Emerson. He's just a buzz.
Headless chicken.
Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, it's daylight robbery, the fact that Roma got that much from him, honestly. He's going straight in Alberto Moreno, along with the next person on the list.
George, Reece, any complaints?
None at all. No, I did see. Obviously, you've sort of mentioned quite a good moment. Well, you said sort of one good moment for you guys last week against Atletico Madrid, but and there was also I saw it. Everyone was celebrating because he nutmegged Ziyech in training quite recently. So, but in terms of overall sort of gameplay, I'd say no complaints.
Goalkeeper bonus. right, moving on.
The next one is Marcos Alonso. Jeez.
Alberto Moreno.
Right, I'm going to say this quickly. If we're going off left wing back, he is very good. If we're going off a left back in a back four, he is literally Roberto Moreno. It's hard to do. It's hard to place the guy. But if we're going to go out and out left back in a back four, Alberto Moreno, left wing back, he's a very good left wing back. I don't think much people will disagree with that.
Well, here are some of the teams that he has played for: Bolton Wanderers, Sunderland, Chelsea, Roma. He is just terrible. He is a terrible, terrible left back. He's a very good left wing back, but my goodness me.
I have the next page drawn up.
If you had a page below Alberto Moreno, he would probably be there. He is that bad a defender. So yeah, Alberto Moreno all day long. Nathan?
How is this guy a footballer? Alberto Moreno.
George?
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys. Obviously, Josh has sort of spoken about. I think as a wing back, you see a different player, but obviously defensively, he's been every time that I've seen, he's been very poor, very suspect. He definitely isn't suited to that position whatsoever. So yeah, Alberto Moreno for me as well.
Can I just ask something very quickly before we said why did Marcos Alonso not become like a left mid or a left winger? Why did he decide to go to a left back? The guy's got the goal scoring attributes to be a goal scorer, but why did he pick left back? I don't know.
He was probably told he's good enough. Okay, so what's the best way to rate Alonso? I've had to be very fair here, and I had to think this over. So here we go. Sorry, Josh, but it's the truth. All Chelsea left backs are just Kepa clones.
Okay, just on a disco. If we were going to go off left wing backs, where does Marcos Alonso go then? Where he doesn't have to defend and just attacks.
He would probably be
average.
He'd probably be average if he was a left wing back. But we're not judging him on left wing backs, so
I don't know who this is, but is that what's his name?
Eric Peters.
Signed from Stoke, wasn't he?
Stoke, yeah.
Yeah, this is the most Burnley signing you can get. Very
average.
Yeah, he has to go average. Average.
You can't put Burnley any higher. I mean, that's criminal.
I don't have any disagreements. I think he's solid. I don't think he's anything amazing, but he does the job and he does what Sean Dyche wants him to do.
So's a chicken bake from Greg's. They're solid.
So I think I think he's average. I think he does what he needs to do, but nothing better than that.
Thank you, Rich.
He's definitely average to me. He's definitely he might be solid, but there's solid and then there's actually doing something for effort. I mean, he doesn't really offer much for Burnley. I know Burnley have changed things up. They've got a new chairman, new direction for Sean Dyche to go. But Eric Peters, he doesn't particularly offer anything. I think he's in his 30s now anyway, so it won't be long before he's gone with the wind. So yeah, average for me.
Yeah, George.
Oh, I'd agree with. I think average. As Reece sort of said, he is into his 30s now. He's 32. I think his contract as well, from what I saw, was expiring this summer. So there's a potential he's going to be on his way very shortly. But obviously, Eric Peters, everyone knows him, especially from obviously his Stoke days. He's sort of a no nonsense defender. Not necessarily very technically gifted whatsoever. But But at the same time, obviously solid and has been around for absolutely ages, and you soon get found out in the Premier League if you're not at least average. So average for me.
Yeah, I think he can go and play. I think he can go and play in the Dinosaur Club. I think he can go play for Middlesbrough, to be honest.
Here's what Hallie said about Marcus Alonso. Average for now, I've been given a new lease of life under Thomas Tuchel after Frank froze him out after the nightmare game against West Brom last year, showing what he's capable of. But again, so that's very summed up. So Eric Peters is going on average, then I think that's
average.
The next one is Charlie Taylor, and I'm going to say this now. I think both Burnley left backs are average at best.
Both of them going average. Charlie Taylor actually quite right, to be honest. He's pretty good.
Yes, he could do a little bit better, but yeah. Is that Bernardo next?
Yes, I think so.
I'm saying this now. He's playing in a crap team, but he actually should be in good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He plays for a crap club.
He's too good. He's too good for Brighton.
Yeah.
And then you've had Graham Potter, the football hipster's dream, getting an absolute world out of him. He's been superb at Brighton.
I agree completely.
I'm going to go Alberto Moreno level 4.
Really?
What?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I would have had you hanged. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I agree. I don't think he played against Southampton in that FA Cup tie, but I think he's good energy. He's just the style Graham Potter wants to play. I think the issue with him is that maybe this whole back 4 thing that Graham Potter is switching up is not good for him, and I think he needs to be consistent as a wing back or a left back.
I think he's better in a back 4, to be honest, based on what I've watched. In a back 3 doesn't seem comfortable for me. I think he prefers being in a back 4. I would like to see him at a different team. I think he'd be a solid fight with Bertrand at Southampton. I think he'd be perfect in that.
But
I don't think he would go there, obviously, but I think that's the perfect club for him.
But besides Lewis Dunk, who I think has been Brighton's player of the season, I would probably put him as a player's top 2, definitely behind Lewis Dunk. So yeah, I'm going good, happily enough.
Right, the next one we have got is
I believe that's Matty
Targett.
Oh, Targett, yeah.
Matty Targett. I have to say this. I think he's playing in a very good Aston Villa team. I think they've been very improving defensively. I think he has been very good. I would put him in good. I think he's a very left back. I think he signed for big bucks from Southampton. I think he's a good, solid left back for me. Josh.
Yeah. See, about Targett, I was surprised Southampton let him go because I think Southampton should have kept him.
Yeah,
I don't think he was doing anything wrong for Southampton to let him go. It's a hard one because I would say good, but then I feel like I'm being too generous. But if I say average, I feel like I'm being too mean on him. Because I think at the start of the season he had a really good year, but I think the Villa defense and the Villa team in general has struggled a lot since they came back from COVID. So I'm going to go borderline good and average. Basically, start of the season was good, now he's average, but the whole team has been, so I'm not going to be unfair on him.
Has he met his targets so far? Nathan?
Yeah, I'm going to put him in good, underappreciated player. Playing in a very good Villa team. Personally, where the level he's at, I'd say mid to lower Premier League, so he's about at the level he should be, really, so I'm going to put him in good.
George?
Oh, yeah, I'd agree with all of you. I think good for him. Definitely, works well. I think with obviously Jack Grealish as well. Every time that I've seen him, he's very confident on the ball, good passer. Obviously, good close control. Very composed and quite solid defensively as well. So I put him in good.
Kieran, for fuck's sake.
Reece?
His puns. Wow. I'm going to put him in good. I think he's overall been. I think him and Matty Cash have been so reliable this season at fullback for Villa. And either side, they're so reliable. Yeah, good for me.
Just on a wee side note, how was that a penalty on Harry Kane yesterday?
Crazy.
It wasn't. There was never a penalty.
Thank you. If that is Bruno Fernandes or Mohamed Salah, they're getting called diver. The fact that it's Harry Kane, he's the sweetheart of the media.
It's because he's that England captain, eh? Like, I don't know why he is. It's like, but no, that was definitely not a penalty.
So the next one is the backup left back to Matt Targett at Aston Villa. It is Neil Taylor. I'm going to be honest. Like, Neil Taylor did very well at Swansea.
And for Wales.
Sorry, Nathan. Had to mention that. He went to Aston Villa. He was the starting left back for them in the Championship, and then he came up, and I think he's been okay. I would probably. What? Oh, I don't know what happened there. I would put him in average, honestly.
I'm going to go with poor because I remember a specific line that Dean Smith said about him last year. I remember he got isolated on the squad for about 5 weeks, and Dean Smith says his attitude stinks. He was late to training every single week, and he refused to speak to any other players in English, and that's why I had to isolate him out. He had a disciplinary issue, and for that he goes in poor.
Oh wow, Nathan talking about an ex-Jack, of course.
Right then, as I know, there's a lot of Jacks in the comments. The controversy alarm is back out once again, guys. Right, where do I start with this one? He was good at Swansea. I'll just leave it as good. For Wales, I only recall him having one good moment where he did score in that game against Russia. But apart from that, he hasn't done too much for Wales. Yes, he has got quite a few caps under him, playing at left back, making it in instead of Ben Davis, who actually played at centre back. When he moved out of the Jacks, went to Villa, absolutely flopped. I remember seeing him live a few years ago where we beat Aston Villa 3-0. Mendes Lang just absolutely ripped him to shreds. I honestly don't rate the guy. I'm going to put him in Alberto Moreno.
Is he actually in the Wales squad for the upcoming qualifiers?
No, he hasn't been in the Wales squad since 2017 when he basically turned Seamus Coleman's leg. He just turned it into breadsticks, honestly.
Well, that kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
George?
I mean, yeah, I think I'd sort of agree and just place him in poor. I think, obviously, you have talked about the fact of how well he did for Wales and stuff, but obviously all the disciplinary issues that you've talked about. And I think also, I don't think, obviously, his tackle percentage, tackle completion is very poor as well, and also pass completion as well, so poor for me.
Reece, Regulon is not better than Digne. I'm sorry.
Nah, no, not a chance. Not a chance. I don't actually think he's particularly good. I've watched him numerous times. I don't rate him. I think he's Alberto Moreno level. He's got nothing in him to suggest he could actually be even an average player, not even a poor player. For me, Alberto Moreno level.
Wow.
You go into Alberto Moreno then on foot.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, I can tell you now, Kolasinac is not at Arsenal anymore, but what I can say, he would be an Alberto Moreno.
He would be Alberto Moreno.
Well,
Alberto Moreno wouldn't even get put into any category. He can just sit uncategorised. That's how shite he is.
The backup to Kieran Tierney, who we'll come to, is Cedric Soares. Cedric Soares. Cedric, who obviously came from Southampton, is now the left back. He's left back now. Arteta plays him as a left back this season.
He plays on the left hand side now, yeah, but he is predominantly right back.
Yeah, no, the two right backs are
shite. Bellerin, who can't even defend or throw a ball.
Bellerin and Saka. Saka plays at right back if Bellerin can play.
Saka was playing like right wing the other day and all that.
Saka is not a right back.
No, but he plays right back if Bellerin can play. So
Bellerin just can't play full stop.
Because Cedric started at left back against Spurs.
Okay.
So.
To be honest, Cedric is in the Portugal squad, so you can't be a poor defender to be in the Portugal squad. So for me, Cedric's in the good category.
Could be in there at a pity.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, for me, he was solid at Southampton. Thought he was a very good right back at Southampton.
Sorry, my fault. It wasn't Saka. It's the backup was Callum Chambers as the right back. The backup to Bellerin, not Saka. My fault.
But yeah, I would put Cedric in good.
Yeah, Cedric good.
He's average for me.
I'm going to agree with Reece. I think he is average. How did he get a 5-year deal at Arsenal? That's the one thing I really don't know. Like, when we talk about good agents on these tier lists, like on top of like Lee Grant and Joe Hart, I don't know. I don't know how he got a 5-year deal at Southampton. I think he's good. I think he's average. I think he'll do the job. But are we serious? We're going to put Kieran Tierney in very good or / good. I think let's be realistic. So are we really going to put?
In my opinion, that's
very good. Yeah.
Are we going to put him a category close or similar to Kieran Tierney? Not for me. I think he goes. I think when you look at those average left backs that we have, I think he fits in there quite nicely. So George, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm going to say, to be honest with you, I'm going to say he's good. So I place him in the good category. Obviously. Again, Doug sort of mentioned it about Portugal. I think he was obviously starting for them, albeit I was at right back during Euro 2016 when they were absolutely phenomenal, obviously, and won the competition. And I saw him plenty of times there, obviously plenty of times for Southampton. And obviously, like I said, I do think he's a good footballer. So I place him in good.
He is not the best in the league. Kieran Tierney isn't the best in the league. He's good to very good at best, but he is definitely not best in the league, and that's coming from an honest Scotsman.
I'm going to put Kieran Tierney in very good.
Very good.
That's accurate for me.
He's definitely a lot better than all the good average poor Alberto Morenos and don't know enough. But he's not quite there as best in the league yet. He's got the potential to be. He was very, very good at Celtic. I think everyone remembers that for sure. But yeah, I think he's not quite at that, Robertson, Shaw, Digne level. So if we were bordering line, he would probably be best in the league. Very good. He's not quite there, so we'll put him in very good.
He needs to avoid injuries. He needs someone to give him a push because he's got no one to push him at left back.
I will say this now, though. If he keeps going the way he does, in a few years' time, he will be in that best in the league category without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh yeah, hands down. But not right now, no.
But Kieran Tierney goes into very good. I think given the fact that he is still very young and he's doing it in a very poor Arsenal team, I think that's a very good position to do. But there we go. There is
Seamus sums up.
Just hit the nail on the head there. He's very good in an average Arsenal squad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there is our tier list complete. There is our left back tier list done and dusted. There was a lot, and I mean a lot of disagreements, but that's the whole point of this. That's what we like, and that's what we have so many different fans, voices, and opinions on.
So would anybody move anybody down, or would anybody move anybody up? Because I think we've got probably the three best in the league.
I think the only one I could see being moved is Dallas. Dallas is the only one where I could see people where Dallas seems to be the only one who could be moved.
He's borderline. He's borderline for me. He's not anything higher. He's borderline. He's like slap in the middle. But that's because he's not been able to usurp Luke Shaw. That's the only difference.
I mean, George did put him in good / very good, didn't he? Very good / good.
I would put him in very good, but obviously Reece is right in terms of opportunities. He's had few, but I think he has been very good when he's played. Obviously, we don't want to get into a long argument about it again, but I think he is.
And I'm the tier below Moreno, podcast in the alley, and I'd move Mendy into there.
All I'll say is, though, I'd move Joe Bryan down one. I'd definitely move him down one. I wouldn't say Alberto Moreno, but I can't put him in the same level as the Burnley left backs, Telles, Ben Davis, or someone like that at all.
I wouldn't have him as a left back. I think he's better as a wing back or potentially as a left winger that fits him perfectly. That's Alex Telles, not as a left back.
So are we all agreeing that Luke Shaw, Andy Robertson, and Luke Digne are in the best in the league?
Yes.
And very good, we have Aaron Chriswell, Sergio Reguilon, James Justin, and Kieran Tierney. Would anybody move anybody up there or down?
That's fine, yeah.
I obviously would move Tellez there, but I think, like I said, obviously it's going to be I think as Josh has sort of said, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what people have to say. Obviously, all the different people on Twitter and stuff. But
yeah, I am actually pretty happy with that. In all honesty, I don't think there's anybody.
I'd probably put Johnny down the average, to be honest.
I'd move Johnny down one as well.
Who's the one above him then? That can't be Al Nouri. We had him in average.
Yeah, we got Nouri. Johnny's in the good category at the moment.
I'd probably put him down one, to be honest.
Johnny.
I'd say he's just a mixture, but he had a great first season last year. This year he's just like, what's he done?
Yeah, he isn't the starter anymore, so it's hard to make an adjustment on that.
Yeah. I think the majority. I think we've got absolutely spot on. In all honesty, I think the Alberto Moreno one is completely right.
Yeah.
Masuaku, Mendy, Emerson, Alonso, and Neil Taylor, and then I think they don't know enough. I think we've got probably the right ones there as well. Where did we put Cedric, by the way? Oh, I know it's Kolasinac, but where did we put Cedric?
So he was an average, yeah.
Average. James Dunlop says no changes needed for me. Looks accurate. There we go.
I think the only other one you might have an issue with City fans is obviously Mendy.
Can care less.
But obviously it's...
But it is true, though.
He's absolutely diabolical.
I think the only place I would move Mendy would be poor at best. I think that's the only one I'd move. I'm actually going to make a decision here. I would move Mendy to poor.
Nah.
I'm keeping him with Roberto Moreno. I don't think...
I don't think he's good at all, mate. I genuinely think he's awful.
There's a very particular reason why Pep plays him in one competition and wants a new left back. Mendy will be gone in the summer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, another tier list, and I think this looks very, very accurate. So we will put this on Twitter to everybody, and hopefully everyone agrees with us this time.
We'll find out.
I think some people won't be happy on Twitter, but that's just the way it is.
When are people on Twitter never happy?
But to say our goodbyes, Doug, have you got any final words?
Oh crikey! I didn't realise. Just a massive thank you to everybody who took me to 1.1k. We're on the road now to 1.2k. Their videos are going to be limited this week because obviously it isn't the international break. So it'll be mostly World Cup content that'll be coming on the channel. My match day 1 predictions will be coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that. But most of the videos this week are going to be very limited, I'm afraid. But yeah, keep in contact with the community tab. Also, I am on this at this moment in time. I am actually updating the prediction league table because I haven't done it since I think match week 17. So yeah, keep an eye out on the community tab for that. But no, thank you to everyone who's watched again.
Reece, are you going live on Twitch after?
Yeah, I'm going live on Twitch. 9:30. So get over there. Not FIFA this time, folks. Sorry, Jamie, you'll be a bit disappointed. I was going to do FIFA. We're going to do FIFA tomorrow or Wednesday. We're going to do some Valhalla streaming tonight. So get over there. 9:30. Reece_Lightning 1997 on Twitch. Hit the follow. I'm only 7 away from Affinity. I'm only 7 away. So very close.
Hella says she disagrees with Tellez.
Tellez, Hell, you're a good pal of mine, but I completely disagree with you. Sorry, I completely. But it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I respect it, but I completely disagree.
So, Hella, where would you move Tellez then?
Probably good or very good, but I know where I wouldn't put him, and that's poor.
Yeah.
One thing I will say though is I did not expect Tellez to have this much debate in any shape.
Absolutely.
He hasn't done enough for me.
Oh, here we go.
So Nathan, how are you coping?
Yeah, doing superb. Obviously after the weekend, inching ever closer to 1k. Keep slapping that subscribe button, guys. And yeah, if it's done by next week, then I got to make a TikTok. Keep subscribing, guys. That'd be appreciated.
I will say this now, Nathan. You'll make 1K for the Belgium-Wales watch-along.
Yeah, I think I might. I thought it was. We got really close this weekend as well. I'm on 977 at the moment, so really close at the moment.
Wow, 23 away.
23 away.
Even though it's 6 days away, me and Nathan will be doing a brawl. Our Foot Magic returns on Sunday night. Which
you need to get me in. You need to get me on the next one, lads. You need to get me on the next one.
Well, so you can join it. Well, we can have Reece take over as Man United, couldn't we? If he's okay.
Are we doing it? Can you use crossplay? Because if so, then I'll be able to use the Xbox. I've got it on the Xbox.
I believe you can.
I tried to do it with someone else, and it's just PC only, unfortunately, which is really annoying.
I suppose the only thing I can do is if I was to stream, I can just get hosted from you guys. I can just do it from you guys, like via hosting. But I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
James, I absolutely agree with you. Come on, Scotland, indeed, against Austria on Thursday.
And also, last one is George Kyle. He looks to be our tier list specialist. It looks like he'll be coming on every single tier list episode. I think, George, I don't know if you've been told that, but guess what? It's official if you like it or not. So, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, very much so, Josh. Thank you for having me, and very pleased if I'm lucky enough to be included for the remaining tier lists. Very much enjoyed tonight. Obviously, thank you very much for everyone in the comments, and obviously everyone who continues to watch and subscribe to Doug's channel. We want to obviously grow and as much as possible, because Doug's obviously an amazing person, and he really does deserve it to grow as much as possible. Just a very quick disclaimer or quick notice now, because obviously I know that Josh said at the start, but it's very important for me to say at the end as well. If you do disagree with any of the placements that we've made in this tier list, please obviously feel free to comment, but please do make it respectful, because we don't want obviously a situation that happened last time where people are being offensive or hurtful, which is totally unnecessary, because at the end of the day, it's just an opinion. So like I said, just be very mindful of that. You're free to disagree, but do it in a respectful and thoughtful manner, please.
Yeah, bring me back up for 1 second. Bring me back up 1 second. I can sum up. Put it this way. Opinions, they're allowed, but there's no right or wrong answer. Don't be a cunt.
And as they say in Stormont here in the UK, here. But that puts the end to it. So next Monday, let me just check my calendar, make sure I'm not giving you guys false information, because that'd be a bad hoaxing of me. So yes, next week will be our last podcast before we go off. So me and Doug will try and come up with an Easter special fun type thing, as well as the regular podcast. I'm sure me and Doug could figure something out.
And when we come back, I'm screwed.
So, but me and Doug will figure out some, as well as a normal podcast, we will try and add a wee Easter fun thing towards the end of it. So, I've got nothing else to say. I think nothing else anyone to say. Everyone's happy and lovely.
Good luck to all the home nations: Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. Well, you've got San Marino. So if you lose that game, then you should just give up.
We're already at least, so we are screwed.
I'll only want 3 of the home nations to win. I want the other one to lose dramatically. So there you go.
Thanks. I'm sorry to talk about Northern Ireland because you don't like me.
No, I'm talking about England.
England.
I've got no. I think Northern Ireland are all right. They're going to face it's England, obviously.
Well, anyway, that's all from us now. We will see you again next week for the final podcast of this term, or whatever you want to bloody call it. And I'm going to go home, go to bed, and then get ready for work tomorrow. So wish me luck, because I bloody need it. Cheerio!
Good luck.
Ta-ra.
Au revoir.